Alright, so we're going to start rebuilding our 204R. You can see that this is a CZ F transmission, so it comes out of a Monte Carlo SS. We're going to build it high performance. I'll take you through it step by step. Let's start from the beginning, of course. The first thing you want to do is take the pan off. Very simple. There's a bunch of bolts around the side. Just go ahead and pop them off. Alright, we got our pan bolts off. Now we'll lift the pan off. As you can see here, we have the valve body over here. That's what we're going to take off as our next step. Very easy to do, of course. Take out all your different bolts. And then we're going to pop it right off. Easiest place to start is with our solenoid. It's our TCC solenoid right here. It plugs in, you got two screws right here. You got one screw holding our wire in. You got a wire connected to our pressure switch. And there's another clip that's fastened here. And of course, we're fastened over here, so our second switch. And then lastly, it comes down here with this clip. But let's go ahead and take our solenoid out. A pair of 10mm bolts. Get that out. And then we'll move on to our next set of bolts. Loosen these out. This one right here also loosens up. And our clip is fastened here. Pop that one off. And this just pops off as well as that one. So our TCC solenoid. Here's our two bolts. Anyway, here's our one clip bolt. Other clip bolt. This clip just gives it a good pull. That gets us out. Let's get a screwdriver or something. And we'll pull that baby out. Alright, let's get our pliers in there. Get this yanked out. And of course on this side, we have our other connector there. Just lift up on this blue tab. See that blue tab over there? And that connector should come right out for us. And let's just pry this baby back here. There we go. Now we have our solenoid out. Put it in your parts box. And the next we have is our valve body bolts. We'll go ahead and get those out. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and one more over there, 15. So we'll go ahead and get those out. Alright, we got our bolts all loosened up. Let's pull them out one by one. It's nice to take pictures, by the way, before you go taking things apart, so you know where they go when you put them back together again. Pressure switch. Oh, by the way, all these that were in there, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are your long bolts. The rest of them are short bolts. Nice little thing to remember when we go to put them back in. And this over here in the corner, that's your TV. Make sure you get the little clip out of there too, right, along with your bolt. Don't lose all your parts. And here's our little rooster switch thingamajigger, lever, whatever you call it. Put that aside. Now we have all of our bolts out. So this should pull right off, and it never really does. So what you want to do is get yourself a little hammer. Don't use a hammer, of course. Use like a rubber hammer. And just give it a good whack. and it should come right off for you. Now be careful when you do this, because there's going to be some check balls underneath, right? Little tiny ball bearings, and you don't want to lose those, of course. So what we'll do is give it a little yank. It's just stuck down to our gasket material. And when you pull this off, don't forget there's a little lever right here. See this lever? It attaches to our shifter. Right, so what you want to do is pull it to the side. Right, just pull it to the side so you're not stuck to it. Okay, and now your valve body should come right off. And let's see, we got one of the bearings in there, but the other two, there's one there and there's one there. So again, don't lose these. It's best to have a magnet handy. Alright, here's your just basic magnet tool. I'm a huge Craftsman fan, of course, so I like the Craftsman lineup. Where's my ball bearing? There it is. You can see it just attaches, right? They're steel ball bearings. There's number 1, there's number 2, and there's number 3. Take note of where they go, and I'm going to put my parts, just using this box right here. It's good to keep all your stuff in there. I should probably keep all my miscellaneous bolts, switches, all that stuff in there. We'll clean them all up later, of course, and get back to it. All the miscellaneous assemblies, and of course our valve body as well. Alright, move that over to the side. We'll clean that up really good, by the way. You'll notice this one had some water. It was sitting in somebody's shed for God knows how many years. But you can see there's all kinds of garbage in there. You got to clean these really good, because if these valves aren't moving really good, it's going to cause you some wacky issues when you go back to put it together again. And of course, that's never a good thing. This right here is your other gasket. Right, there's a gasket here. There's a separator plate, it's called, and then there's another gasket underneath. Since this one had a little bit of water, I'm hoping that that gasket is going to come off. Sometimes when they get water into it, they don't like to come off, and then it becomes a royal pain in the butt. What we want to do now, we can't get the separator plate off unless we get our accumulator housing off. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts there holding her on. So let's loosen that up, and then we'll get this off. It's basically kind of common sense teardown. There's really not much to it. It's just time consuming, of course, but hopefully you find this fun. If you don't find this fun, you're probably in the wrong hobby, I guess. I built one of these back in '09 maybe, so it's been quite a few years. Put it in my 66 Chevelle. It's one of those things on the bucket list I always wanted to do, is build an automatic transmission. So it's nice to get around to doing that again. Go ahead and take these bolts out of here. Yeah, it's always a surprise when you get these cores. You know, this guy was selling it on Facebook Marketplace. I paid $100. Yeah, shocking to me too, to find a Monte Carlo SS trainee core for just $100. Very shocking. Anyway, let's give this a little whack with the hammer again. Get her off. And be careful when you pop this off. Should be your spring. Right? And there's a little piston in here. We'll work on that later. And here's your plate. We'll take these 4 screws, just put them back in there, put them in our parts bucket. Let's give this a little cleaning, I guess. Now Now we have our little accumulator plate underneath here. Let's go ahead and get that one bolt we didn't get off. Get this out. Don't drop your bolts. Always a bad thing. Here comes our separator plate and our gaskets. We're not going to be reusing this separator plate. I got one with a shift kit that we're going to be putting in. But here's the other side of it. And yeah, that's looking pretty stuck on there. See if we can get her off. Let me put this bolt back in there. This should just peel right off. Yeah, it's sticking a little bit, as you can see. I think that's from some water. Like I said, it got some water in it just from sitting around. The guy had it covered up, or so he said. Yeah, what are you gonna do? I'm not gonna reuse that anyway, but there's a plate on here. I think we'll probably reuse this, but we'll deal with that when we get to it anyway. Put that onto the side. There's some more check balls in here we want to take out. Don't lose them. There's one there, one there, one there. Let's see, did I miss any? One there. One there. What is that? That's 5. Yeah, I think there's one down there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's one little one right down there. Let's see if we can get him. There we go. That's our 7. And I think we've got them all. Okay, so we'll go ahead, put those in our... Oh, one thing I did want to show you. I missed one of the check balls. Right there, there's another one. So I think that makes it a total of 8 inside and 3 on the outside. So sorry about that. Oh, almost forgot our pin and our spring. I'll have to come back for the piston there. That baby's in pretty well. Alright, let's come back in with our big ass needle nose. Get in there, just wiggle it back and forth. Should come right out. It's our piston. Put that in your part as well. Trying not to lose everything. And lastly, let's get access to our governor there. I think these are 13 millimeters. The other ones were 10 millimeters. So, all right, let's get our 13 millimeter. Bust them all open. These are all 13 millimeters. The other ones are 10 millimeters, as I mentioned. Underneath here, we're going to find our governor and our drop the 13 millimeter. Never a good thing to do. Pop that off. 1, 2, and that's the 3rd screw we're getting off here. Alright, we got all 4 of our screws out. Again, we're going to have to whack that with our little hammer. Get her to come loose. Always works well on the stuffed sticking gaskets. Again, you never want to whack that, of course, with a metal hammer. That would be just silly. But obviously, here's where your gasket belongs, and yeah, everything's all nice and stuck. I'm going to have a field day scraping those gaskets off. But you want to put that aside. This right here is your governor. Just pulls right out. Very easy to get to. I think that's your speedometer gear, one of the gears. Sometimes you need to change that, or the other gear. I don't know if you can see it there, but the speedometer gear is right actually in here. That meshes with this part right here, and that's depending on your tire size, your rear end ratio, is all that kind of stuff. This part right here goes up against your output shaft, which is down there. Again, hard to see if you can see that with the camera angle. But anyway, this is a good valve body. Again, it comes out of a Monte Carlo SS. I think it was in 86, 87, maybe 85. Again, I don't really remember. But again, it's one of the good models, so your shift points are set nicely with your valve body, and that's definitely desirable, that one. Or the Buick Grand National, of course, which was what, BR, I think, model. Anyway, to get further in, there's 2 bolts right here. These are for your center support. So we're going to have to get those out. We also have to get our servo out, which is on this side, right in this cavity here. And then once we get that stuff out, we'll rotate our transmission back up, and we'll start taking out the guts of it and see how this thing goes, and see what kind of shape it's in on the inside, and then put our parts in and get further into it. So, all right, so let's get our center support bolts out here. We're going to do what's called dual feeding. So basically we're going to replace one of these bolts. I'll show you that later when we go to put everything back together again. Also forgot the band anchor apply pin right here. We want to get this baby out. This connects to our intermediate band and tightens around our drum. Just want to check the condition of it. It looks pretty good. So go ahead, keep that on the side. Let's get those 2 center support bolts out of there. And then, yeah, we'll be good to go. On this end, we can rotate the transmission around and start getting the other parts out of it. I probably shouldn't leave my wrench on there. This, of course, you don't want any scratches or dents or dings or anything like that, because then your oil is going to cross flow into the different paths, and it's going to be a nightmare to troubleshoot. So definitely don't scratch those. The important thing to note on these, if you can see down in there, you can see that there's actually a hole inside. It runs all the way through both bolts, and that goes into the center support, so you get your oil flowing through there. But just FYI, that's a little key point of note there. So that's our main points that we'll want to take apart here. Oh, you should probably pull out the little pin as well. This way we don't lose it when we flip it over. We'll mess around with the other stuff in a bit. All right, let's go ahead and rotate our tranny. As I'm bonking into the camera there. Hold on one second, let me get you guys out of the way. All right. Probably should have showed you earlier on. You guys might want to make a similar type modification. All I got here is just a Harbor Freight engine stand. It's one of the heavy duty ones. I'm going to build the big block, but that's a different story. And I'm using this mount. I just took a couple 4x4s. I bolted it to the front Hopefully you can see that. And then there's just a transmission stand here. I don't know if you call it a stand or bracket or whatever you call it. This piece right here, you can buy them on eBay. There's some vendors as well. I think you can probably find it on Amazon. And this bar right here just connects across through there. All you have to do is just tighten this and tighten that. It fits into this little hole on the side, if you can see that. And this one just goes right into the front, just into the case. And there's also another little pin that goes in the hole right there. That's built into the transmission, that hole. And that just holds it. And then what you do is just pull this pin and you can rotate the transmission. Makes it super easy. And again, I just used the 4x4s, just bolted them in into the back. One bolt there, one bolt on the other side. It just makes a simple stand, and it's very easy to mount it. Otherwise, the thing weighs, I don't know, whatever it weighs, 100 pounds, 150 pounds, whatever. It's pretty heavy to work with. But anyway, that's the stand I'm using in my garage. Next up, we're going to want to remove the servo from the side there. First thing you want to do is get rid of all this crap that's built up over time, of course. What we're going to find is there's a little snap ring on the side, and we're going to want to pull that snap ring out. And then once we get the snap ring out, we're going to pull the servo out. You might be able to see that this is a 682 servo, so it's one of the thicker ones, or 692 rather. One of the thicker ones, so that's good to have. But anyway, easy way, get the servo off the side. Just squeeze these two, the ends of it. Trying to do this without blocking the camera too. And hopefully you can see that just kind of pulls right out. Get our little screwdriver while we're squeezing. And let's pry it out of there. There you go. And then, without blocking our camera here, let's see if we can get this all the way around. Right, so our snap ring is out. And again, there's the two tabs you can see. Now this servo just pulls right out. Trying not to move the camera while I'm taking it out. There we go. Yeah, came right out, huh? There she is. And then this should also just pull right out. Our O-ring's caught right in there. Let me put this down. There we go. Get the O-ring out. And she comes right out of there. Spring and all. Right. Put that aside. And let's get the band apply pin. See if we can see that on there. Right, there's your band apply pin and your piston. Most of this stuff we're not going to use because we're going to change our servo into an even heavier duty one. But yeah, just take it and put it back together again. This way we remember what everything looks like. Not that we're going to reuse it anyway, but just for your reference. Again, we're going to replace the servo with a heavier duty one. And that's pretty much it for this part of the disassembly. So now that we have all this part done, we could move on to the front pump, which of course is all the way up here. And then we can start to tear down, going gradually deeper and deeper into the transmission. And then that's the end of it.